Topic 4.7, surface area of a right cylinder. When you're calculating the surface area of a right cylinder, you follow the same steps that you used when calculating the surface area of a rectangular prism or a triangular prism. The two basic steps are the same. Number one, you determine the area of each of the sides of the object. Number two, you add them all up to determine the total surface area of the outside of the object. Now in a cylinder, of course, we have bases that are circles. So let's review some circle formulas. To determine the area of a circle, you use the formula pi r squared. The distance from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle, that is called the radius. And the distance right across a circle from side to side is called the diameter. The circumference of a circle, which is the distance all the way around the circle, is determined by multiplying the diameter by pi. Let's try a couple of examples. Now, we're given a right cylinder, and if you examine it closely, it's comprised of three faces. It has a circle for a base. It has a rectangle that wraps all the way around that circle. And it has another circle for its other base. So it actually has three sides. And the basic strategy for calculating surface area hasn't changed. We determine the area of each side and add them up. So to calculate the area of a circle, this will be face number one, we have to multiply pi times r squared, which would be, in this case, pi times 3 squared. All right, and pi times 3 squared is 28.27 to 2 decimal places. That's the area of one of those circles, centimeters squared. Now the second face is actually the same. We know that the bases of right prisms and also a right cylinder, they are congruent. So this area is going to be the same, 28.27 centimeters squared. The third face of this right cylinder is a rectangle that wraps all the way around the circle. The entire circumference of the circle would be this length here, which is the base of this rectangle. We have the height of it, and we know that to determine the area of a rectangle, we need to multiply the base by the height. So the base of this rectangle would simply be the circumference of the circle. So the area of that rectangle is going to be equal to pi d, and pi d is the formula for the circumference of a circle times the height. Okay? So what this is actually saying is the base of this rectangle times the height. That's the formula we need to use. So that would equal pi d, of course. Pi d, so if we extended this, this would also be 3 centimeters. 3 and 3 are 6. So that would be pi times 6. And we're going to multiply that by the height, which is 10. And that's going to be 188.50. Now, we have our three areas. We just need to add them up. So the total surface area of this right cylinder is 245.04 centimeters squared. Let's try another example. So here we have another right cylinder. We're given the height of the right cylinder, which is 8 centimeters, and the radius of the right cylinder. Now, again, we have three sides. The first side will be one of the bases, the top base, let's say. The second side will be the bottom base. And the third side is going to be the rectangle that wraps around. So we just need to determine the area of each one and then add them all up to get the total surface area. So, area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. In this case, the radius is 6, so we're going to plug 6 into the formula. And that is going to give us 113.1. Round it to 1 decimal, please. And the second one, because it's the same, it's congruent, we can simply write 113.1. Okay? These are centimeters squared. These are the areas of the two circles. The third shape is a rectangle. Now we have its height, but remember we don't have its base. So we have to figure out its base. And its base is the distance around that circle, because that rectangle wraps all the way around. The circumference of a circle is equal to pi d. So in order to calculate the formula, in order to calculate the area of that rectangle, we multiply the base, which would be pi d, the circumference of that circle, by the height of the rectangle, which is 8. Now we have the radius, which is 6, so diameter is going to be 12, 2 times the radius. So that's going to be pi times 12 times 8. Which is 301.59 centimeters squared. So if we add that to our two circles, we get 527.79 centimeters squared. Topic 4.8, volume of a right cylinder. You know that volume of right rectangular and triangular prisms can be found by calculating the area of the base and then multiplying by the height. This same method can be used to calculate the volume of a right cylinder. Here's a right cylinder, and in order to use this method, we need to calculate its base's area and then multiply that by the height. Now, the cylinder's base is a circle, and to calculate the area of a circle, we have to use the formula pi r squared. In this case, the radius is 6.5 meters. So we will multiply pi by 6.5 squared. Which is 132.73. And then we're going to multiply this by the height. And the height is 8. .86 cubic meters. Now let's have a look at those two previous examples we determined the surface area for. and find those cylinders' volumes. To determine the surface area, we looked at the three sides of the cylinder. We calculated each side's area, and then we added them up. Part of our calculation was to determine the area of the base. So what we can do, because we know that volume is equal to the base area times the height, is we can actually just use the area of the base that has already been determined using the pi r squared formula for the area of a circle, and we can multiply that by the height. So in this case, that would be 28.27 times the height of this cylinder, which is 10. And that would be 282.7 cubic centimeters. And for this example, we'll do the same thing. The volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. And the area of the base has already been determined using the formula for area of a circle, pi r squared. And it's been determined to be 113.1 centimeters squared. That's the area of this cylinder's base. Then we just need to multiply that by its height, which is 8. And that is 904.8 cubic centimeters.